G'day and welcome to Grizzly and Bear Overland. Today we are going to make a long overdue full rig tour of our Land Rover Defender 130. If you have followed our channel from the beginning, then you'll know that our Grizzly and Bear looked very, very different than what it does today. And 8 years ago, we made a full rig tour video that we'll post a link in the description or on this video. You can check out what it used to look like all those years ago. 2 years ago, we shipped this vehicle from Australia to Cape Town, South Africa. Now, before we even arrived, we had been in touch with some companies there and decided that we were going to do a massive modification to our vehicle. We essentially chopped it back to the chassis and turned it from a 4-door factory Land Rover Defender 130 into a single cab, well, I shouldn't say single cab, it's a custom club cab, space cab with a flatbed and side storage box modification. So without further ado, let's get stuck straight into it. On the front of the vehicle, we do have a winch, Warn VR12 winch, the Evo 12S. It's a 12,000 pound winch. Haven't used it yet, I must say. One of those insurance policies, we do choose to carry the winch and think it's a good idea. Fully custom made bumper or bull bar. This bull bar was recently redesigned when we installed air conditioning. This was made by Unreal Fendi in Johannesburg with their engineer, Maddie. Thank you, Maddie. LED headlights, front and rear, and the side indicators as well. I will mention these light protectors. They come from a company called Raptor 4x4, which I believe are in Italy. We got these light protectors from Newman 4x4 in France because they were laying on a shelf and I asked if we could have them. On the bonnet here, we have the bonnet guard. We used to put this to more use when we had a roof rack that carried our spare tire and a storage box that was on the previous build. Other than looking pretty cool, is actually designed to take a bit of weight. You can get this bonnet guard checker plate from many different companies. It's testing the memory a little bit, it was 8 years ago, but I think we got it from Maasai in the UK. Underneath at the front here, we do have a bash plate. That is also from Maasai, and hidden behind the bash plate there is a Terra Firma steering dampener. Tires. At the moment, we are running the Bridgestone Jeweler mud terrain tires at a size of 265/75 on 16-inch rims. These tires have performed fantastic since we arrived in Africa. We had them installed just before we left Australia. The rims, again, I think they're made by an Italian company. They are Racer alloy rims. They're a +10, I think, ET offset. These rims are a very strong rim. From memory, I think they're 1,400 kilograms load rating per rim. Let's talk suspension. Our vehicle is on an Airbag Man Australia full air suspension system. So that means no leaf springs, no coil springs. Those have been entirely replaced with airbags. The air suspension system gives us a multiple choice of ride heights, but the coolest feature with this one is the auto leveling for camping. Defender's factory have the shock absorber inside the coil spring. Obviously, we can't do that at the moment because there's an airbag where the coil spring usually goes. So Airbag Man, along with the kit, provides you with these shock absorber relocation brackets. Just before we left Johannesburg, we were having some issues with our previous shock absorbers, which were some Terra Firma 8-stage adjustable. Ran them before, thought they were great shock absorbers. The new edition of those shock absorbers unfortunately didn't perform quite up to standard. We thought that we were wasting this air suspension system a little bit with the inferior shock absorbers. So we made the big call just before leaving Johannesburg to take a visit to the Fox Africa factory. We spent a very cool day with the guys at Fox Johannesburg installing the Fox shock absorbers 2.0. So far, absolutely changed our life on the corrugated tracks. Braking. So we have stock standard factory brakes. Have considered to get some performance braking system, brake discs over the years, but we were advised by a few good friends not to bother. The brakes work fine for us. Yes, we are heavy and we could go some sort of sports brakes or performance braking system, but I heard they do wear out a lot quicker. So whilst this is working, I see no need to change that up. Don't let Dad see that shovel, that's his. This shovel, it's still got Dad's name engraved on it somewhere there. It says Viv. Now, this shovel has been in the family Oh, I'm gonna guess 40 years probably. My dad's a plumber, I'm a plumber. We've both dug a lot of trenches with this. And now this shovel has also dug out the Defender on multiple occasions. So we just mount that here on the fender. Great place to have it, easy access, whether it's for digging out the Defender or digging a toilet in the bush. No? No tapping, sorry, sweetie. So our raised air intake or snorkel, we can call it a snorkel. I think we can call it a snorkel now because I believe, knock on wood, that it is fully sealed. Don't plan on doing any incredibly deep water crossings in the near future like we did in Australia and had a lot of leaks, but since then we've sealed it right up. This comes from a German company called Nakatanenga. This one I really like because it's got the cyclonic, we can call it a pre-filter, I guess, at the top here. The air enters into this little catchment here, spins around, throws any sort of coarse sediment, dust, sand, insects off to the side, hits the side of the glass here and then settles at the bottom, whereas the air goes over the top and straight through. Now this is modified. This is an 80mm line straight through to the air filter box. And for those with a keen eye that know their Defenders, you will see that yes, where the air intake for the engine is entering into the fender here is where you would usually have your air intake for your heater or your blower for your inside your cab. But we have had to swap that around for the way the pipework runs inside the engine there. Where your air intake for the engine is now the heater blower air intake. Is it clean? It should be. I gave it a pressure wash the other day. Under the bonnet, for all our North American buddies, or I better say under the hood of our vehicle, we have the standard 2.4 litre Ford Duratorque engine. We put a brand new engine in when we started our journey. The vehicle has 230,000 kilometres on it, and we have put roughly 130,000 kilometres on the vehicle ourselves, I think, since we left Paris in 2017. The engine has been, knock on wood, absolutely flawless for us. We have had an engine remap. We have a larger intercooler and a larger turbo, which was done by Bell Automotive Services, the BAS equipment, which is absolutely fantastic equipment. Pete Bell from Bell Automotive, he is a genius with the Puma Defenders and all the Defenders. Whilst on a recent trip to Australia to visit the family, I picked up a catch can. This was something I'd been recommended by a lot of people over the years, especially our mate Mark over in Dubai. Thank you, Mark. The catch can essentially filters the dirty return air that is very, very oily actually. I looked at the pipework when I pulled it apart and installed this in Johannesburg a few weeks ago. Filters that through, it has a little drain on the bottom and a cartridge filter inside. Recently, we installed air conditioning. This was actually the reason we went into Unreal Fendi in Johannesburg. So that's been a beautiful modification. We've been using that regularly up here in the hot and humid wet season. We have a modified front runner roof rack, thanks to the guys at VictiTech. We had to get that modified to fit the Defender roof rack, I think. I can't remember why we wanted that. No, it was because Steffi's fussy and she wanted it following the line of the Defender roof and not sitting square. So good on you, Ian, and the boys. They modified that for us. They can do anything there at VictiTech. On the top there, we're carrying a recent new addition as well, which is the Max Tracks. For many years before that, we ran the sandboards or waffle boards, but we just tried to cut a little bit of weight. So we've gone to the Max Tracks now. So those two little holes there are because the Max Tracks had one little flaw on them. If you keep them on your roof, those big recesses there filled with water. The door handle protectors, along with the light guards, I would say that these are one of the items on this vehicle that we received the most questions about. Can't even remember where I got them now, but if you just Google Land Rover Defender door handle protectors, you're probably going to find them. I think it's a gentleman in Russia that makes these originally, probably a lot of companies now. Many years ago we installed these. Absolutely unnecessary modification. I just thought they looked pretty cool. And to be honest, they do work as a bit of side armor there. Yeah, I do like them and they create a bit of conversation. So on the windows and windscreen down in Port Elizabeth, when we were staying down there, we got the windows slightly tinted and even a very light shade of tinting put on the windscreen. And it's a smash and grab special tinting that they make down in South Africa. Works quite well, I think. We had a massive rock fly off a truck the other day and hit the windscreen, and I'm certain that that rock would have shattered our windscreen before, or at the very least put a massive crack, and all we got was a minor chip. So I'm going to tell myself that that was a good investment. Here, these ones are very cool, and another one that we get some questions about. Again, the Defender designers didn't think so much about comfort and the little things like that. These were built all those years ago as a rugged utility vehicle. Water, when it's raining, the way these are designed and angled, drip, drip, drip. If you want to drive with your window down, which most Defender drivers do because of the cab being so small and narrow for bigger guys, and your arm out the window, if it's raining, the rain pours down. These little wind deflectors made by a company called Climb Air, they deflect the wind, which is nice as well, but also I find the best use for them is taking away all that rain from running down into the cab. I mentioned earlier that we made a massive modification to this vehicle. Now, Defender did make a single cab 130, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I'm mistaken there. I think they made a single cab high capacity pickup in the 110 model, maybe not the 130, but we wanted not the single cab. I wanted this little bit of extra space. Now, anyone that's ever sat in the single cab Defenders will know that they are not comfortable. You cannot even recline your seat even an inch. We not only wanted to be able to put our seats back just a little bit to be comfortable, but we also wanted a little bit of storage space behind the seats. So I was very specific. I took a lot of measurements, and we have exactly 150 millimeters of extra cab there. So that's why we can call it a space cab. On the side, we have the original rock sliders that we've had all the time. These had to be modified to suit the shorter cab, done by the legends at Victitech in Cape Town. Let's talk under the vehicle. We have the standard axles, front and rear. And when I say axles, I mean axle casing. The differential in the front is standard. In the rear, we have an Ashcroft limited slip differential. Drive members are heavy duty from Ashcroft also, along with the half shafts front and rear. Our front radius arms and our rear tailing arms are also heavy duty, and they're made by Terra Firma. The entire interior we had reupholstered in a beautiful leather by Pondstain down in Cape Town. The guy down there, he did a fantastic job. May he rest in peace. The poor fella passed away. But we are reminded of the quality of his work, and he was just such an amazing guy. We weren't sure to begin with if we were overdoing it a little bit on an Overland vehicle to go the leather interior. Now that leather's nicely worn in, we do not regret that at all. The steering wheel in this beautiful leather as well is so nice to drive with. We mentioned earlier that we recently installed air conditioning on our Defender, which has been incredible. And as these things sometimes do, what started out as a basic air conditioning install turned into rather a large job. The corrugations and very rough roads of a recent trip to Botswana took their toll on the cab section. A lot of stuff rattled loose, a lot of joints started moving. Anyway, it turned into a very big job once we started to dig a little deeper. So we made the big decision, on the advice of Andrea down at Unreal Fendi, to pretty much strip the cab back and rebuild it. Now the guys down at Unreal Fendi, they're doing some really awesome stuff on Defenders, trying to just take away those little nuances that they didn't think about so much when they were building these things by hand up until 2016, the rattles, the leaks, all these little things. And now we are driving a pretty solid vehicle.
Never moving again.
We stripped back the entire cab, and the guys at Unreal Fendi, along with Steffi, mostly Steffi and myself a little bit when I wasn't at work, they solidified all the doors. We tried to close up every single little ingress of air or dust. And there's a lot on a Defender. Those that drive them will know. Whilst we had the entire dashboard apart, we did take the opportunity to throw in a couple of little luxury items. One of those being the Sony double DIN unit. That has been a fantastic upgrade. The double DIN unit we are using obviously for music. On the occasion we do listen to music, which is not very often. We're quite boring and we're always listening for anything wrong with our Land Rover. But the double DIN unit can be used for navigation. It can be linked to your phone with the Android and Apple app. It's quite a fancy bit of kit. We're definitely not using it to its full potential. What we use it for is the reversing camera. Not only for reversing, but a live view to the rear at all times. We're wide, we don't have a good view out the back. We have no view out the back. We only have the vision from our wing mirrors. So having a rear camera is very important for safety reasons. And I like that camera to be on all the time, even when we're driving forward. It's very nice to see what's coming up behind you. So we still use the basic phone for navigation, which is mounted there on the windscreen. You might be wondering what that little contraption is there, tucked in behind the passenger seat. One of those lines is the air intake system for our air suspension, and the other one is the air vent from our 80-litre potable water tank that Victitech have mounted under this garage box, actually up in the chassis as a stainless steel water tank. We have to utilize every single bit of space available. So we've also utilized both of the boxes underneath the seats, both the driver's side and the passenger's side. They are utilized already from factory. Under the driver's seat is the battery, and under Steph's seat here, or the passenger's, I say Steph's seat because she's usually the passenger, I'm usually driving, is a fuse box. We have utilized this one into a little storage space for the air compressor. Now I have to thank Harry from the Landy Expedition. He got this done in Namibia. We copied the idea, just tucked away in there, and it means it's one less spot that we have to find storage for it elsewhere. Under the driver's seat, I mentioned before that there is the factory battery. We have added an additional battery and created a dual battery system. I think the dual battery system is from a company called Blue Seas, and that's a great addition. The auxiliary battery, it is utilized for a whole heap of accessory charging points, charging drones and cameras and phones, of course, without having to drain the starter battery at all. To the rear of the vehicle, this incredible flatbed side storage custom build done by the guys at Victitech. We spent a long time in the workshop with them. Absolutely amazing modification, life-changing modification to us. We have these two massive garage boxes. It's one box actually with two doors, accessible from both sides. Very great design, which comes up like this, even designed so that I don't hit my head when I walk here, which was one of Ian's very important points when he built this. Oh, it's a little bit messy in there, carrying some old shock absorbers around. But in the middle of that, keeping it nice and central, is a spare tire, which on the previous build we were storing on the roof. This has been a game changer. It's made the handling of the vehicle noticeably far improved. Let's hope I've installed this for Francesco, because this is my turbo cover, and Francesco at Unreal Fendi told me I must install this. I still haven't done it. Sorry, Frank. That jerry can up there on top of the spare tire we have there for potential diesel storage. We've never put diesel in it. Yeah, that's there as a water container, possibly diesel if we do need to fill it up one day. Now, when I say garage boxes, that's just what we've named them, just so that we know what we're talking about. Where is this? It's in the garage box. On the other side, we're storing rock climbing equipment, outdoor equipment, camping and hiking gear, side storage boxes. I think we did have numbers for these at some stage, but I can't remember now. In this side storage box, we're keeping chairs, a little table, our air compressor lines, and another very cool addition from Victitech was this last minute idea from Ian to put on top of these doors, because these drop down doors here, they are shaped, they're curved, which is a fantastic design feature, makes it look nice. Give it a little bit of sculpture rather than just that straight boxy look. Ian decided that we needed these little stainless steel bench tops, and we do have them on all of the doors, which is fantastic. We prep meals on these. This is the braai box, so we've got all our barbecue or braai equipment in here. You can pull it out, you can put it on here, sort through it, and he's got the Dyneema here as well, rather than having some chain or wire. This was another ingenious idea from the guys at Victitech. Thank you, Ian. We carry a truck camper on the back of our Land Rover Defender 130, and that camper is secured using ratchet straps. Ratchet straps are the best way, far better than turnbuckles, to secure the camper. This design, having these little sliding doors here, allows us very easy access to install those ratchet straps. We also have wheel arch storage areas In this one is the little bit messy, but that's the spare parts. That's all the spare parts I carry on this journey, which is not much really. We have 4 of these wheel arch storage boxes. Diesel tanks. On the previous build, we carried an auxiliary diesel tank. So we had 2. We had a 70-litre auxiliary side sill tank and the main 140-litre, which is also custom by an Australian company, Long Range Automotive, our very good friends in Victoria. On the rebuild, we decided that the auxiliary was no longer necessary. We got rid of that one and we still have 140-litre long range tank from Long Range Automotive. I think that's quite obvious, don't need to explain there, but they are the entry steps into our camper. They are fixed here with some big brackets on the back. We came up with many designs for this, but in the end we wanted something massive, something solid. We're in and out of this camper multiple times every day, so that was an excellent design. On the rear, I mentioned earlier, we have the LED lights, aftermarket reversing lights, these storage compartments on the corners here. There is storage for days on this vehicle. So during this build, we wanted to keep all of the heavier items as low as possible for handling, center of gravity. Now this is a massive slide out drawer that we keep the legs that remove our camper. We have telescopic jacking legs. Now they go on the corners of this camper when we do take the camper off, and they're installed in this slide out drawer, along with rock climbing anchors and some very moldy wood. It needs to come out of there. I was meant to take that out about a week ago, actually. I think I've covered just about everything there from front to back without going into too much detail. I think I've given most of the names of the products we've used and the companies who've built the equipment that we've got on this vehicle. Any questions or comments, advice, criticism, feel free, throw it into the comment section of this video. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for checking it out, and we'll see you next time.